I know what you want. Okay, we should be live. Let me scratch my face so I can do something silly at the beginning. Hi, friends. Welcome to Cockatoo. Cockatoos with attitude. And as Peaches would say, hello, friends. Now, she never said the word friends, but you know she had friends. And she loved her friends. So. Lucy girl. Got Lucy with us today, and Salamander, and Jasmine, and Kazi, and Romeo hiding out. Like, don't tell anyone I'm here. I'm the Romeo. Lorelei. And hiding back there is the sugar. The sugar bird. Salamander. What? What cause? What cause? Hello, Mander. Well, here comes the Lorelei. How unusual. She doesn't usually get anywhere near a cause, because cause can be a little rough with her, aren't you? Be nice to her. Ah, the most, you have to be nice to her. Lorelei, you leave Romeo alone. Lorelei, leave Romeo alone. Don't mess with the Romeo. There you go. You two can preen over there. Lorelei, leave him alone. Lorelei.
A little bit. Birdie trouble. Hey, yeah. Coffee.
Cause is actually acting as a buffer zone for Romeo. So.
Oh, she's a sweetie.
She is, but boy, when she goes after somebody, it's almost instantaneous. I've never seen anything move so fast as this little girl when she wants to go after somebody.
Oh, Cossy. Oh, Cossy foot.
First time I saw her do that, she went after Bob. That was the first day she was with me. She flipped him over on his back and was holding him down with her foot by his throat. I don't think he's ever forgotten that. He sure gives her a wide berth.
No, Babalu surely has not forgotten it.
They all seem to be doing a little better, although they still give difference to that spot where Peaches used to hang out.
Yeah, the peachy spot, the peachy corner. Oh my.
There's a little story to that corner too that people don't know, is that I mean, I knew that she didn't have long, and my friends who are, where we're staying temporarily here, they lost their umbrella cockatoo, and they're still grieving after a year. And I didn't want them to grieve over Peaches. And the reason Peaches sat there in that spot was because she wanted to get to know them better. And I wouldn't let her do it, because I didn't think they could handle it. If they really got to know who Peaches was, and then Peaches passed away, I thought it might be too much for them. So, and I knew Peaches.
But it also was the peachy corner before you moved, I think. Originally she got used to that corner, or sitting in that corner, because first she was away from all the other instigator birds, and second, you had a speaker out there. She could listen to Rammstein.
Yeah. Well, actually, I knew, because before we came here, I had been down to see Dr. Jenkins, and we had the determination of what she had. And about 1 in maybe 10,000 survives that. So, and she had growths in her preventriculus, and it wasn't feasible to do surgery to remove them, and they would have come back, and she probably would have died sooner if she'd had that surgery. So it was, you know, in intellectually, I knew she was going to die, but you know, emotionally, you always hope. It's like in a movie Terms of Endearment when the doctor says to Shirley MacLaine, you know, well, I tell people to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And she says, and people buy that BS. So that's why I didn't allow, you know, I didn't encourage them to come over and talk to her when she was doing that. And I didn't encourage them to spend a lot of time with her. So.
Yeah, but I think they are grieving, even they haven't known the peach so extremely good, but they have known her for years.
Yeah, to some degree, I think that their grief over theirs is just, it's like ink. It's just staining their personalities, and they can't get rid of it. And it's not a pleasant thing. But what are you going to do? You know, there's nothing you can do to make people feel better. I mean, I was really having difficulty until I found those beads on. I get an ad for something that is all peachy colors, which is a 1,000,000 to 1 shot for my beads. Having given my Buddhist meditation beads to her in her casket, and then to see something like that kind of gave me a different view of the world. You know, now I just try to make the world like Peachy would make it. No, you're not supposed to vibrate. And the other bracelet I ordered is one that I ordered a bracelet that has the words on it, you know, what would peaches do? So when in doubt, I don't think I'll be climbing on the sides of the aviary and displaying anytime soon, but you get the idea. I don't know how many people. I can't see if there's anybody in our Zoom or YouTube meeting, but if you're there, hello, welcome. As Peaches would say.
At YouTube, there are some people. Erin is with us, and Doris, and Falconsy.
Oh,
So
great.
far.
Hi, guys. Hi, Doris. Hi, Falconsy. Hi, Erin. Thank you, Doris. Much appreciated. Got it. There's a little something coming your way. So. What are you doing down there? Why are you're just a little too sensitive. It seems like mating season is just all year round now. I don't want this one. I don't want to have to give her another Deslorelin implant. So. Yeah, where we're intending to move the sanctuary is Tucson, Arizona. That's our focus. The pricing is right in that area. There's lots of avian vets. Oasis is only an hour and a half away, Oasis Sanctuary, and then Phoenix Landing is out there too. So we have a lot of people who can volunteer in that area. And the housing, we're looking at, I don't know how I'm going to come up with the money, but, you know, pulling things out of a hat, you know. Like Bullwinkle. Housing will cost us less than 300,000. So I don't want to rent. I don't like the idea of having somebody breathing over your neck every minute. So somehow, some way, we're going to get a home out there. I still have my VA loan available. So buy a home under my VA loan, and then it gets paid off. You know, and then immediately transfer it over to the sanctuary. I took a vow of poverty, so I'm not going to own anything myself. So a Buddhist monk in everything but robes. I don't think they'd like me in an orange robe. I think especially Bob, he'd probably eat me. I was walking around in an orange robe, but
Or Erin says she is excited about the move and you can count on her. She will come and help you move.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that would be great. Because no matter how you look at it, moving one bird is tough enough. But when you're moving our crew and you have to do it safely, and then at the same time, you have to move their cages so they have something to be in. We've been looking, a friend of mine who's in New Jersey, who used to be on the board of directors, has been looking at homes. And it's amazing what you can find out there. She found one that was $254,000. It was on 0.86 of an acre. So you got plenty of room. Neighbors aren't going to complain, right? Has the air conditioning. I think it was 1,500 square feet. So, I mean, we can get a place where we can house the birds and have everything they need out there. In California, yeah, you'd be lucky to do that for $1 million or $1.5 million. So gotta leave this place. I mean, I've been here my whole life except for 4 months when I was in Washington State. So you want to get petted? Is that what you want? You want to get petted? Mander, he is such a big sweetie. It's amazing what he can do with that twisted spine. That picture of his spine, it is pretty dramatic. And when I went in to have x-rays done on him, I paid for one and I got 8. So you can say what you want about some of these vets, but he paid to have all the other ones done because he was trying to figure out what in the world, but there's no way to know whether it was an injury right after he was hatched or if it was something congenital. They can't figure it out. It's amazing that he gets around at all. And yet he will come over here and want to be petted. And considering how hard it is for him to move, you need to do it when he asks for it. That's for sure. Oh, I got your ear. I'm sorry. He opens his beak. He doesn't usually yawn, but he'll open his beak a little bit if you get his ear. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at something in the range less, maybe $275,000, $250,000. And then it'll belong to the sanctuary. I may end up buying it may not even I don't even want to do a loan. I would just rather have the money outright and then have it go straight under the Chloe Sanctuary's name. I don't want my name on it. Be like the van we have, that's under the Chloe Sanctuary. I don't own much in the way of property. The computer I use, that's a Chloe Sanctuary asset. I own my clothes, my shoes. What else do I own? Not much. My toothpaste. I just don't really care about material objects. What I care about is these guys. So, right? What do you think? He says, I think I don't get enough edamame. God, he likes edamame. I have to be careful to give him too much. He'll just eat that. It's good for him, though. I mean, the Chinese lived on that for 10,000 years. That and the rice isn't very helpful. You need some carbs and fiber, but what's really helpful is the edamame. That's great stuff. So they all get it because it's good for them. Don't believe what you hear. The hype on television and all that. The reason that you hear negative things about soy is because it's been cutting into the bottom line of the meat and poultry organizations. God, the death squad doesn't want you eating edamame. Imagine that. It shouldn't be called the Meat and Poultry Association. It should be called the Masters of Death. But if I did that, then I'd be stealing from a movie, and a book. Thank You for Smoking. Excellent movie, excellent book. By William F. Buckley's son, Christopher Buckley. From what I read, he didn't think that much of his dad, but that's not unusual in this world. So right now, what we're doing is focusing on that. I've got some help. We're trying to come up with some ways to fundraise to make sure we can get the money to buy a home out there and get these guys settled in. And then we own the home. It's not like we're going to have to worry about being tossed out by some landlord who decides they don't want any bird damage to their property or whatever. I'm done dealing with landlords if I can avoid them, you know, especially after that last situation where she didn't care. The woman didn't care that we were being, you know, assaulted by noxious fumes from her property. So don't want to have to deal with that. I want to be able to say this needs to get done and get it done, you know? So I know interest rates are going up, but you know, there's always the chance they'll go down again and we can refinance the sanctuary property or whatever. But and are you gonna cry up there? Amanda, are you okay? You know, he's telling, he's a little petting. I'll get to you in a second. I gotta pet the mander. He came all the way over here. Didn't you, big boy? Didn't you, big boy? He doesn't like his beak petted, though. Just the opposite of sugar. So, last night I was working on using Grant Station and other locations to come up with different places we can apply for grants. Some of them on money for property as well. Targeting the area we're moving into and also nationwide grantors. So, yeah. Got to do it. Got to get over there. And I just don't want to rent. I just can't see that. And the other thing is when I have kidney disease, you know, the docs are giving me like 10 years or whatever. So, and I have a hernia. So between the two things, I want to make sure that when I go, they don't have to. They can stay where they are and they can continue to have happy lives. So training volunteers to deal specifically with each one of them because everybody's got a different personality. And it gives me time to do all that. But we don't live forever, and I need to make sure these guys are taken care of. And I know that that's the right place to go. So as soon as I heard the name and started doing some research and then got the info on the property that are available out there, that would be, yeah, the people out there don't have any illusions. They don't have lawns, okay? You're living in the desert, you don't have a lawn. So this is that kind of you need people who are realistic, and there's realistic people living out there. So and the history of lawns is fun. If you look into it, you'll see that it was the ultra rich, the barons, and you know, in the feudal times that were the ones that had the lawns. And what it did is it showed how prosperous they were. You know, I just don't care. Now, I might have a little garden, food stuff out there for them. I might do that, you know, but that's different. Food is one thing, grass is another. I'm happy with dirt. The planet is made of dirt, isn't it? Okay, you want me to pet you? Hold on. I know, Mander, you still want to get petted, but well, now you're going to show a little attitude. Yeah, if I don't pet her when she asks right away, she shows a little attitude and turns away. Come on, let me pet you. I know, Mander, but she needs to get petted.
Oh, thank you, Aaron, for your donation. Aaron donated.
Oh, thank you, Aaron.
Move to Arizona.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. Oh, now it seems when you think about it, it seems like almost like a pipe dream, especially to me. I've never owned a home, and I'm not going to now. But the idea of coming up with all this, you know, we're talking quite a bit of capital to do this, but I just can't see any other way. I want to make sure these guys are cared for, and then we can also help others. You know, we can hold classes, we can teach people, we can expand our videos, and there's a whole bunch of things we can do if we're settled in a place like that. Right now, we're kind of constrained. I mean, we're talking about they're okay. I spend a lot of time with them in their bird room, and they are out here during the day, but you know, for part of the day. but I want them to have more of a life. And one of the things I want to do too is expand this aviary. The company that makes it told me that you can keep adding sections to this. So, and the way I found that out was I had this. I called up because the latch on the door broke. Okay, so there's more than one latch, but one of them broke, and they asked me, well, what size I had, and I said, well, the biggest one you make, and they went, well, actually, there really isn't a biggest one. We sell them up to 20 feet long, but you can extend them as long as you like. So I want to get a slab out there and put it on a slab, make the slab long enough so that we can extend the aviary quite a bit, possibly put a second one because sometimes you have to deal with birds that don't get along. And then also eventually put an awning over all of that because it gets hot out there. So, and maybe eventually get that an air conditioned area too. But, all that's like in the future, but that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking about making the best I can for these guys. And then, the places like the Oasis, they're great. They're great. They have, I think, around 800 birds there. But they don't have ones that, like these birds that require medicine twice a day. At least they don't have many of those because, you imagine you have quite a few volunteers. All of our birds require medicine. Even Cecil now requires it. So, yeah, it was. Well, what was happening to Peaches, I think, is what set both Bob and Cecil off. Cecil has other issues that make him the kind of bird you wouldn't want to put in a population or in someone's home. His multiple personalities, I deal with them, but I just can't see most people being able to do that. And then he's been chewing on his number one primary feathers on both sides for a while, but now it's spread to number two, and I have to stop it. So, and then Bob started chewing on himself with what was happening to Peach. And so we need volunteers that can do it. Right now, I got to be honest, if I were to die today, Sugar would be dead within 48 hours. So this is critical. We got to get out of here. We got to get to a place where we have the volunteers. The place belongs to the sanctuary, and I'm certain that that these birds can get the medicine they need. It is critical. Jasmine is another one that won't live that long because she's a mutilator. The rest of the birds here are feather destructive, but Sugar, Romeo's got, he has severe psychological problems, and without the medicine, he'll just sit and shake. He looks like a bowl of jelly, and then his feathers just, he starts bending them to the side, so it looks weird on his chest. He starts bending his feathers, and then he starts going towards his skin. That's how we got him, in fact, because we were asked to bring him in because he was literally exploding, shaking all the time, and just scared of everything. And so he's much calmer now. He was sitting in my lap yesterday. He sneaks over and sits in my lap. He won't do it if I'm online, I don't think. But well, he did yesterday. But I was online with the supporters, but he sat in my lap. That's so where my head's at. I mean, right now I'm focusing on trying to make a permanent place for these guys where when I'm gone, they'll still have. Thank you so much for that donation. Salamander, it's usually that leg you get. I don't know why it is. And I should catch it, see it coming, but oh well. He can't move around that well, so, and he's not intentionally doing it. Cecil was for a while. When I separated him from Lorelei, he started pooping on me, but mate aggression is a real thing, so I had to do it. He was starting to rip her feathers out, so. But we got to find a home for these guys. It's just, and volunteers to man it and make sure that it's still there once I'm gone. So I have someone else in mind who might come out and help, and then start working on more volunteers. We've got some support from those who have done rescue in the area before, and this is mostly logistics support, but nonetheless, it's something. Right, Lucy? Yeah, Lucy's another one that within a few days, she'd start losing her primary and secondary feathers and her tail feathers without the medicine. I know some people don't like the idea that they're getting medicine, but usually those are people who have a cocktail in their hand when they get home, or a beer, or have a cigarette in their face, or, I mean, I can't smoke even if I wanted to, because I'm around birds, but most human beings medicate themselves one way or another to try to make their lives better. And this is what it takes for these guys. And they're getting the same medicine that's used for people who damage themselves. So it doesn't work quite the same. They don't have the same endocrine system we have. It doesn't make them crazy, generally speaking, but it's more calmative, gets rid of the urge to hurt yourself. Their endocrine system is not ours, that's for sure. What did Gary Oldman say in the movie Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula? Your ways are not our ways. It can be a pretty wild drug on humans, but it's, you can't even tell it much of a change for these guys, except they stop hurting themselves. Breaks the chain. I wish it was permanent, but it can be. If a bird is just starting and you catch them right away, you probably can stop it, but you may have to start it up again at some time in the future for a while. But if they've already been doing it for a while, you gotta keep them on it, right?
Aaron is wondering if weed is legal in Arizona.
I don't know. I personally, when I was younger, I loved this stuff when it was illegal, and I spent my misspent youth up to about the age of 30 smoking it every day, and then I just stopped. It's not addictive, right? So I just stopped. It can be, you can habituate to it, but I just stopped, and that was the end of that. I tried it when it became legal in California. I tried it a couple of times, and it's like, no. It takes away from my ability to function around the birds, so I don't smoke it. But don't smoke it, don't eat it, don't. I can't take a chance that a bird might get sick and I need to go somewhere, and it doesn't thrill me. I would love to occasionally drink a beer, but I can't. I have gout, so the worst thing you can do is drink even a non-alcoholic beer. It guarantees I won't be able to walk the next day, and I have to take horrible medicine called Indocin. It's the only thing you can take. The only thing you can take that's for acute gout, and horrible stomach aches, headaches. You feel miserable for 2 days. Yeah. Anytime I think about drinking O'Doul's, I go, I'm not doing that. And this one over here, you can't drink anything that looks like a beer anyway. If you break out an O'Doul's, he will attack you. He has issues with that kind of thing. He does not like bars or booze. He's against all that. They can't have it anyway, but he doesn't want you to have it. Right, Sal? He goes, you talking about me? You talking about the salamander? He's a magnificent bird, and most people would blow it and cuddle him far too much. I pet him. I don't cuddle him much because he just wants to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And you don't want to bring out his mating instinct. But he's a cuddly boy, that guy. He's a big cuddly boy. Lorelei, She's cute. She loves to come and be held for a bit, but she's not what you would call a cuddly bird. She's more of a bird, which is kind of what I wanted her to be. A bit of a pest, aren't you? But she's a good girl. A good girl, but a bit of a pest. If you've got buttons on your shirt, she'll come over and get on you, and then she'll nuzzle up to you and get your attention away from everything, and then you'll hear the snapping sound as she busts the first button she took off your shirt. Or if she gets in your lap, you can pet her in your lap. The next thing you know, your zippers are broken. So, and she plans ahead. I'm sure she plans ahead. Kazi is just a sweet girl, and unless she decides she's going to attack somebody, she's just a sweetie, aren't you? Yeah, it's a pretty girl. Cockatoo, can you say hi, cockatoo? Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. I got a video of Simone, her sister, saying hi, cockatoo. I haven't shown it to you yet. I will show you the video of your sister saying hi, cockatoo. I would like her to see her sister again. That might happen when we move to Arizona, so we'll see. She remembers her if you show a picture, a video, especially a video of her sister. She jumps up and down and has a. You show her another bird and it doesn't. She doesn't react. But you show her Simone and she just bounces all over. Don't you? You know who Simone is. Yep. Yeah, I'm excited about all this, but of course, there's a lot of work. So I try to get a little bit of a half-hour nap or something in the day so I can put in another 3 hours working at night trying to come up with the logistics and funding and all that stuff. Got to do it. There's just no two ways about it. If something happens to me before I get this done, then, sugar won't be around anymore, so we can't have that. Kicked myself in the rear for being on such a holding pattern, waiting for what was happening to Peaches. But I had to try to do everything I could for her. I did a little thinking about this and some planning, but until she passed, I couldn't focus 100% on it. So if something happens to me, I'm at fault. I know that, but it's hard.
But it was a good thing you spent your time with the Peaches. I think she needed it, and I think in some way you needed it too. So to enjoy the time she had left.
Yeah. I know that's true. It's just, and you have to think of the other side of it too. If we don't get out of here and I don't have somebody who can handle sugar, and that's not going to happen here. There's just no way these folks are going to be able to do it. So if we don't get over there every day that we're separated from that necessity is a day that we're bordering on sugar not being with us anymore, and it's horrible. I've seen it. I've seen what happens when she somehow spits out a little bit of medicine. She still has a dark spot on the back of her back from the last time that happened when she chewed into her wing. So now she can't spit it out because unfortunately I get it way down her throat, keep her head back and put peanut butter in her beak. So I make her start eating the peanut butter before she can move her head. I mean, I'm not going to have that happen again. So, but teaching someone else to do that, they're going to have to be comfortable with actually holding her beak and making sure she gets the medicine. And some people are like, well, maybe you could do. No, I don't need anyone who thinks they can change the situation, because it's not going to change. I've seen what's happened with her when I tried to lower her dose and not going back to the vet for an hour. She almost didn't come out of the anesthesia. I know Dr. Young was, you could see the worry on his face as I'm trying to get her to come back. So we're not playing any games. We're sticking with science here and making sure that she gets her medicine. So.
Yeah, there's absolutely enough evidence about the sugar is relying on this medicine. Well, it's sad, but no one has a method to change it now. And you did everything you could for the shuk bird, and with her it's extremely severe because she's not the one who only starts to pluck herself and chew a little bit the feathers, but before she came to you, she was already so far that she actually chewed her skin, and they have so less blood that when she chews her skin and she loses blood, every time it's a threat to her life. So risking that, it's absolutely, it's a no-go. So everyone who's only thinking about it, so I try to leave it, to not give it to her because maybe I can train it her off or something like that. It's just someone who hasn't get the how severe the situation is with her.
Yeah, it's like playing Russian roulette with 6 chambers in the gun and 5 of them have bullets in it. It's just a matter, that whether it's the first time you pull the trigger or the second time you pull the trigger, she's going to.
And the thing is, you cannot train it or retrain it because it's something they missed in their development, in their early development, and no one has yet developed a method that you can break these habits and somehow to reconnect the brain. So they are just missing it, and it's not something which can be fixed by ABA or something else. So no. If it could, you would have done it already. So
the only hope, and no one's done any research on this, and we're just doing research right now on humans, but the only hope, and this is being done in Austria, but they're taking people who are addicts. They're either addicted to cigarettes or they're addicted to alcohol. They're taking them in on a Friday night, and when they leave on Monday, they don't have the habit anymore. It's gone, and they're using psychedelics for that. And because it brings you back to like the earliest frame of reference and you rebuild a personality. But God, doing that with an alien, I mean, basically an alien species, knowing how to do it. First of all, you'd have to do that research on birds that were so far lost that you couldn't reach them by any other means. So that would be the big thing. And then it would take years of research, but there is a potential for that, but nobody knows. And nobody's working on it. So, but we have some birds, not here, of course, but we have some. Well, actually, when Cecil came here, he was like one of those birds. I mean, when I got him, he looked like a toy bird. He didn't have a personality. His eyes were blank. He was, kind of almost catatonic. And it took me about 6 months within a few days, I was able to bring him slightly out of it. But it took about 6 months before he really developed a personality. And then a year before that personality blossomed. But there are birds that you can't reach. So that's where they'd have to do that research. And the number of people who in Austria come back or repeat the same problem, like after they've left that weekend, is less than 30%. So it's probably less than that now, but that's, with the initial research, we've never seen that kind of success on anything. And in fact, in the United States, they were doing some work with psilocybin, and they went to the FDA because they had it approved for people who are dying of cancer. Okay, there's a book about this. The guy researched it, but and when they got done with the research, they went back to the FDA and asked for more permission to work on a larger group of people. And the FDA said that we don't have a solution for depression. So they didn't just widen it. They said, we want you to work on people who have severe depression. Doesn't matter if they're dying, whatever. So that's a big change in focus. And they saw the dramatic results. So it's possible, but who knows how they'd react to it. You wouldn't want to do it with a normal bird, that's for sure. I mean, Roman is psychotic. I wouldn't try it on him. There's no way. But if the bird was just curled up in the corner, like some of these birds, they don't react. You put light on their eyes don't dilate. Yeah, that's where we would try that kind of research. So, but other than that, there's nothing else that works. I know there's a company that makes, I won't even say the name of it, but the spray that you're supposed to spray on them to keep them from plucking, right? You will get the exact same effect if you take water and spray a bird. So, because if you try it, you could try that stuff and then try it with water. They both work exactly the same because a wet bird doesn't pluck. I haven't ever seen a wet bird pluck. So you talk about snake oil, selling something to the public that does nothing and making money on it. I think they say it's homeopathic too. That's just bogus. You might as well put on there, magic fairy dust. Doesn't do anything. So if you've tried that, if anyone's tried that to try to stop it, just use water. Works just the same. A lot cheaper too. I would suggest using distilled water or reverse osmosis water, though the stuff that comes out of the tap in most places, unless you're in Washington State or a place where it rains all the time, you don't want to spray on your birds. But right, Rome? Roman, what are you doing up there? He says, you talking to me? You talking to me? That's Tucci. That's Tucci, Roman. Yeah, he likes her singing. That's why he's doing that. See how he shakes a little bit? I don't know how well you can see it in it, but he's had that problem since before I got him. It's actually he's much calmer now than he used to be, but he picks some people as friends and he'll say, I love you. And he won't ever threaten them or anything, but he's always threatened me a little bit. And although he's only nipped me a few times, and that's usually when he's telling me don't, and I have to. Like, I got to do his nails, and he doesn't want me to. Because he's nervous some of the time and not so nervous at other times. I got to do his nails again. They're getting really long again. Yes, I'm talking about you, you big silly. Hi, Bright Eyes. Hi, Romeo. Don't talk about me. I don't want anybody to see me. He's like, tries to get up to a spot and pretend not to be there. I'm not really here. Don't talk about me. Oh, yeah. I was talking with my friend last night. Found a home that was $254,000, and it was 1,500 square feet. Lots of room for birds, so we could have these and expand. Maybe, depending on volunteers, you want to have like 2 extra volunteers beyond what you need just for the birds you have. So if we had enough volunteers, we could definitely increase to maybe 20 birds but we're talking taking the ones that are that Oasis says we can't deal with this bird, and then we would take it because I have the training and the skill, and we are going to be training volunteers to have the same thing. So, Phoenix Landing says we have a bird here that's psychotic, and we need some special care. Then we could take it. So we're hoping to be able to take the overflow eventually take the overflow of the most damaged birds, but we got to get these guys settled in and make them feel at home and make them feel like it's their resting place, the place where they can stay for the rest of their lives and be happy. So, and once they feel comfortable, then we can start sliding a bird in here, a bird in there, and helping others. That's it. I work on the ones that have the biggest problems. It's funny. One lady who's a rescuer was saying that like we don't have to tell people that Cecil's okay. He's not okay. Cecil has a lot of issues. And he's not an easy one it would be really hard to put him in a home. I wouldn't do it because he requires so much care. And I don't know what most people would do if he got right in their face and was staring at him, but he does that a lot. And it's not that he's going to hurt me. He's not, but he'll get right into my face, and he'll open that beak, especially after Peach has passed. He'll open his beak and just, like rush at me, and and I just pet him, and then he puts his head up against my chest. But most people can't handle that kind of behavior. So he's a little. I won't call him unpredictable because most of his behavior is something I expect, but others would see it as unpredictable and have trouble with it. So, and he also has to be on meds now. So once he started chewing those primaries about, time is not something I do well, but he's been doing it for a long time, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And it took a while for me to recognize it, unfortunately. So he was already past the point where I could possibly fix it by giving him the medicine ahead of time. I have to dilute it for him. He can't take the full strength. Right now he's on 0.0075. So but it seems to be working. The hole in his chest area is filled in. So yeah, they're doing the lawn, so you're going to hear a bunch of noise in the background here. Might be able to fix that by putting my AirPods in. It might cut some of that noise out, so bear with me. Let's set this down for a second, folks. Not that Zoom always picks up the switch. We'll see if it does. And it says it did. I hope so. And let me hear it. Take this out and deadening, and that might make it better. So Kazi needs a new home. Lucy needs a new home. What are you doing up there? Oh, look at that. Dad said, I need a new home. Yeah. What are you doing, Lorelai? Lorelai says, I don't know what I want. Romeo just wants peace. He's a peaceful bird. He just wants to be at peace with everybody in the world. Just leave me alone and let me be loved. I hope the switch to the AirPods has helped. So you know what I'm doing at night. I'm sitting there hammering at the computer that was donated to us to try to come in with streams of funding. The other thing I have to work on is coming up with more people on Patreon or that go out to our Flipkod site and do a recurring donation, even if it's $2, $3, $4, $5 a month. Yeah. And sorry about the sound quality, folks. Somebody is cutting their lawn. I don't know if you heard that, but they're running a big mower out there, and it's a lot of noise. So usually we do this later when that doesn't happen, but I don't know.
So hello, Michelle. She joined us, and I saw Kaisi a little bit earlier. Yeah, nice to meet
Hi,
you
Michelle.
guys.
What can I say? Yeah, the sound is because it's the lawnmower that's killing the sound. So not much I can do about that, unfortunately. So at night, I am going to be working on funding streams. I need to get the patrons up. We need to get about 500 patrons either on Flipcars, which is our funding site, or on Patreon. They give us a couple of bucks every month or whatever, because we're going to have, month-to-month bills to pay. And then we need the 30 grand to move us plus the money to buy a home. So yeah, a few things we got to do here, but we'll get it done, won't we? Now you've got to calm down over there, girl. I don't want to give you another implant. She was having a lot of trouble when she got an implant 4 or 5 years ago. And it's only supposed to work for 6 months, but it's worked all this time. She hasn't laid another egg and she hasn't been vibrating all the time. She was basically vibrating all the time. So. Weren't you? Weren't you?
Because he's such a sweetie.
Yeah.
And I guess when Bob or Cecil were out, they would make who is louder competition with the lawnmower.
Yes, they would. Yeah, they tend to yell at the lawnmowers. But this happens every Monday about this time. So don't generally mind having loud noises because that makes people.
And it should be considered a crime to have a lawn in your area.
Yeah, I agree. It's silly to have one. It is silly. What are you doing? Where are you doing?
It's like having an outdoor pool in Antarctica.
Yeah, it is.
An heated outdoor pool and some palm trees. Of course, everything heated and a lot of sand and blah, blah.
When I was a kid living in San Diego, it was a big thing to put in pools. My dad didn't like pools, so he didn't do it. But the people were putting in pools everywhere. And what I noticed is we went from having maybe 10% humidity to having 20 or 30% humidity after the pools. Because all this water is evaporating in the air all around. You wonder what these people are thinking. Maybe just people can't think. They just have to follow along in a line when they're told to. March 1, 2, 3, 4, and they do it. My dad didn't do it. My mom wanted it. She wanted the pool, and my dad said no. But I don't know why she wanted a pool anyway. She had heat stroke, and then after she had heat stroke, her ears became. She had to put in earplugs to take a shower. So I don't know why she wanted a pool, but just following along like other people, I guess. I don't.
I shall tell you from Michelle that she's sorry she's been out or late. Yeah.
Oh, well, you never know when we're going to.
Sorry, Michelle.
Yeah, we never know exactly when we're going to be doing this, so don't feel bad. I'm glad to have you here. And you can always watch the replay. You know how to get a hold of us. So.
Yeah, we can say now, as the weather has become at your area a little colder, it's not that early as it was before, or when you did it really, really late, because you had to do it indoor. So now it can be around, this time or 1 or 2 hours later. So this is the time frame.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be in a different time zone when we're in Arizona. But it gets pretty warm there too. I couldn't live anywhere where it doesn't get warm. I mean, it's okay if it gets cold at night, but I have to have the warmth of the day because of my Raynaud's disease, and I react to what other people would say. Oh, it's not cold. And I've told this before, but years ago, I was in my 20s. I was working on a plumbing supply house, and this big plumber comes up and he's like,
wimp. He says, what are you doing wearing gloves in the warehouse? Yeah, it's not that cold.
So I took my gloves off when he couldn't see me, and I walked up behind him and I put my hand on the back of his neck. He jumped he jumped like a rabbit. I've never seen him like. He jumped about 3 feet and he turned around and he goes, "You need to see a doctor." Yeah, he was right. I did. I hadn't thought of it though. That's how I found out I had rain owls. But yeah, my hands, the warehouse was probably about 55 degrees and my hands were not much warmer than that. But they get cold like that if it's 65. So, talking Fahrenheit here. The perfect temperature for my hands, anything lower than this is not good. In Celsius would be 21.5. Anything lower than that, my hands can start turning white and getting really cold. So Arizona is a great place for a number of reasons, and Tucson is the right place to go because we can get help there. We can't get help. We can't get help, from volunteers in this area. There's a few people who might help, but it's not like Tucson, and because they're close to Oasis and Phoenix Landing, and then we can help them too by taking in the more severe cases. So that's the goal. That's the goal, and leave them a place for when I'm gone. Right? She goes, "Gone? You can't leave." This is another bird that I didn't do anything to get mated to her, but she's mated to me. Ozzy is, and this one is, and I know exactly what Sugar is, but that was a lot of work to get her where she is. The only other one that's actually mated to me is Babalu. So you wouldn't want to try to get between Babalu and me. Yeah. He almost ripped the eyes of one of my friends out. So fortunately I had a hold of his feet. I know how he gets. And the guy touched me on the arm. That was it. The only other time I saw him about ready to attack someone was at a Renaissance fair when this big burly guy bumped into me. And, I had to yank Bob away because Bob was going into attack mode. Don't bump my mate. Well, folks, thank you for your support, for being here and listening to me, talk about our future and anything you guys can do to help. Pass the word that we need help, and it's a dire situation. We've got to get moved. So,
Yeah, thank you everyone for showing up. Nice to see you guys and chat to you guys.
And thank you, Anne-Marie, for being here. I don't know if Eleanor is, but thank you, guys. We're going to head out. I got to switch to the boys now. So thanks, Anne-Marie, for your help. We're out of here.